Good morning. We are off to the library to get the day started. It is 10 to 10 or something like that. I slept terribly. I'm exhausted. So we're gonna go grab a coffee, read, get out of the house for a little bit and see how it goes. I think you saw in a previous clip, we are reading The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. I read the synopsis and it seems to be a group of people survive something and then slowly people start dying. The survivors of this accident start dying. So I'm not really sure what to expect, but we're gonna have a good time seeing how it goes anyways. Okay, let's get moving. Back from a lovely little morning out. I read the first 60 pages of The Only Survivors, and nothing has happened yet. The people have just kind of gathered. So there was an accident. It sounds like they were in high school. There were 9 survivors of this accident, and every year they would get together and kind of just reminisce or remember this accident that they survived. There are now 7. And they are at the house that they rent every year. And Cassidy is the character that we are following right now. I'm thinking this is going to be one of those similar to the book that I read yesterday, where little things add up to one big climactic moment. But we'll find out. One of the girls has kind of gone missing, or she's left the house, and people assume they know where she is, but we as the reader are not sure that that is in fact the truth. But it's just so far pretty standard. I'm enjoying it enough. I will continue to read it because at least there's some intrigue that's being built in the first bit. Well, the couple that I read before, the first 100 pages, I felt like nothing was happening. In this, the first 100 pages, you're really getting to know everybody in the dynamic because there are so many characters, and I am appreciating that and liking that, and so it's still moving the story forward in a way that is interesting enough to me. While I was out, I also picked up the latest hold I had on my library, and that is Everyone Here Is Lying by Shari Lapena. And so there's another thriller to get added to the list. But for now, I'm going to do a little bit of reading. I'm going to have some water, just going to hang out. It's nice and cool here today. The heat finally broke, hallelujah. As you can see, I'm wearing a sweater. My favorite piece of clothing is a sweater. And that's it. I'm not sure that this video is going to be done and posted in time for like tomorrow. I'm feeling a little I'm just feeling a little burnt out. There's been a lot of reading and filming, and that's just not something that I typically do. So we will see how this goes, but for now, do some reading, be making some lunch. Let's be hanging out. Outside to enjoy the weather. I am about 125 pages in, and it's going okay, I think. We're still mainly following Cassidy, although there has been, I believe, one chapter through the point of view of a character named Brody. And clearly, whatever happened back in their childhood, or they weren't even, it's not like childhood, but their adolescence, there's more to it than is initially thought. And again, not surprising in the era and the genre of thriller that what is on page at the beginning is not necessarily what has actually happened. And so that's kind of starting to unravel a little bit and connected to what's going on in the current and the present timeline where weird things are happening to Cassidy. And so I think it's picking up, but we will see. It's been enjoyable so far, and I'm going to continue reading it, but I am very curious about where the story is going to go. I'm hoping it doesn't pull something ridiculous that makes it kind of an unbelievable story, because right now it still seems kind of believable in whatever way a thriller can seem that way. So there we have it. I'm going to keep reading, stay awake, not take a nap, and power through this thing. And we're done. 4 completed thrillers in 4 days, 2 DNFs. That's not too shabby. I ended up quite enjoying this one. It got a little ridiculous at the end, but I had a really great time reading it, and that is all I need, even though it's going to be one of those ones probably I think about in a couple weeks and I'm like, there are some holes in that plot. But coming out of it, first impressions, last impressions, I had a good time. It kind of gives me, it's quite the ensemble of cast. It kind of gave me In My Dreams I Hold a Knife vibes, just because of that. The overall story and stuff, nothing to do with it, but the very large cast of characters kind of just reminded me of that book. It was also one of those books that you keep learning information as you go on, and so your opinion about who is responsible for what's happening really changes as the book progresses, and that was, I think, done quite well. Really great ambiance. It happens on the water. It's, in a house that ultimately ends up at for one portion of the book kind of stranded from everything else because of a storm that comes through, and so that creates a little bit of tension. I just had a really great time reading it. I'm really glad I picked it up. Super easy book to read. I mean, it took me a couple of hours maybe to get through the whole thing. But that concludes this Thrill-A-Day experiment. I have several more thrillers still to read. 1, 2, 3, I think 5 still that I'm going to read, I think on my own. Maybe I'll do like an August wrap up or something to talk about the rest of them, but this video a day thing, book a day, I think that's completed for now. It's a lot to know that I want to try to finish a book every single day, post a video every day. I did it 4 days in a row, first time I've ever done that. And so I think for now, I'm going to go back to, 1 or 2 videos of more of just different content for a little bit. But definitely something that I would be up for doing again, because it did get me through my library books at a pretty swift pace. Anyways, it's Friday. I think this is probably going to go up on Saturday. I hope you have great weekends. If you're still around and you had a good time, even if you didn't have a good time but you're still here, subscribe, thumbs up, all the fun things that the cool kids do. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.